plenty of entertainment value and lots of education, so this will be awesome. For those of you who didn't know, my subscription channel is live. So look at the link in the description over at cryptoinfluencers.com, and you can see how I make all of my trades and what I do and what I think about everything. This channel is for more hypothetical and looking at trends, and the other one is for actual trading, so you might be interested in that. Well, hello everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday live stream day. So, man, a lot has happened in the last 7 days. Let's see, our big drop was Thursday. So our Wednesdays have been relatively calm. And then suddenly we just got nailed just on Thursday. Huge drop, completely. It definitely took me by surprise. I thought that the 200-day moving average was going to be absolutely a place of strength. Also, the 200-week, I did not see both of those just tearing like tissue paper. Those are some major supports. And to go blowing through them like that and then max out at about 25,200 was very unexpected. Hello, Dilemma. Hello, Namik. You guys are awesome for being here. I appreciate that. So huge disruption. We were building in to our breakout zone. And this zone, the longer we spend below this line, the more important it'll be. So the breakout eventually will be amazing. But because we've broken below the 200-week moving average, and since we've sort of hit a double bottom here, we've kind of got a sort of a double top and sort of a double bottom, our momentum has been disrupted. So momentum, my personal definition of momentum is higher highs and higher lows. So when we get to a point where we have higher highs and higher lows, our momentum is upward. If we have a situation where we start getting lower highs and lower lows, that means we're in for some pullback and our momentum is pulling to the downside. So not rocket science. And what we've been doing here, we were doing lower lows and lower highs all the way down, and then we had this move, and then we were kind of doing the same thing: lower lows, lower highs. At this point, we had a chance. We had a chance of switching to bullishness because we had barely put in a slightly higher high, so there was a chance for things to move. And we were potentially getting our swing high here, and things were looking good. And then absolute destruction all the way down. So what happens now? Because now that we're at the bottom of this, by the way, you might be wondering what on earth this is and why we're sort of showing support on this line. All I did was draw the line from the top of this peak to the top of this peak, copy and paste and drag down to make a perfect parallel channel. And you'll notice that it is slightly angled upwards, and this lower bound is slowly angled upwards. So I can't tell you how bad a rising channel is. This is not a good formation. If we have moved steadily upwards and then now our momentum has decreased because the angle of this move is is way steeper than the angle that we're currently making, that means that our market is losing steam. And if we had held on to the 200s and continued moving up, we'd have had a major blowout, and it would have happened well in advance of the halving. But that did not happen. Because of this move, the shape of the chart has fundamentally changed. The sentiment is different. Our outlook is different. We have to read this chart differently because there is a substantial change that has happened. So after this drop, it was on this day here, which would have been the 19th, about 4 or 5 days ago, 5 days ago. I drew a hypothetical what I expect the market to do. And it has a lot to do, there's a lot of things that are going to come into play. Number one, we have dropped enough that our 50-day moving average is now sloping downward pretty precipitously. We're moving, this is sloping down. We're erasing our most recent highs and replacing them with prices that are $3,000 lower or more. So this is going to be sloping downwards quite rapidly. Our 200, we are erasing these days, and in fact, we're going to be getting rid of this low as we march forward. And so these lows are being removed and being replaced with prices that are up here. So the 200 will slowly taper upwards, and once we get into this area, it'll kind of spike upwards, and then it'll actually start leveling off, if not decreasing. But what that means is that over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will have a death cross on the daily. A death cross on the daily is not good news. Not good news at all. So just let's quickly look back in history at where we saw a death cross this early in the cycle. It would have been, so this, from our bottom, this would be our first death cross. So this is from 2019. We had our first golden cross. Our first death cross was here. And we struggled for a while. We definitely struggled. We had a golden cross followed by a death cross. So there was, we were kind of all over the map until this golden cross, and then we were off. I don't know if we got a death cross, did we? Yeah, I mean, there was technically one here, but our maturity and time-wise in our cycle, we're in this area. So it would have been like we'd have done a death cross over here. So 2015 is now acting different. We were acting the closest to 2015 and 16, but with this most recent move down, it's just not going to happen. So I've seen this shape before. This is the emotions and what's happening in this market. We've pulled up, we're losing strength, and now the most likely scenario is that we need to come back for some kind of support. Where does that happen? I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that we have our 50-week moving average coming up a little bit. It's now trading at about 23,750, and there may be support here. Let me just zoom in here and get down in here. So the one thing that we did not do, I mean, we did flip wicks between this wick and this wick, but now that our chart is losing momentum and we're pulling to the downside, I still don't think it'll be catastrophic. I really, really strongly think that the people that are calling for 15,000, 14, 12,000, they have drunk the Kool-Aid. This move scared them so much that they are immediately looking for the just absolute doomsday scenario. And that means that the whales that dropped this were successful in changing market sentiment. I am now more bearish because this does not heal overnight. A move like this, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and we're suddenly back up to 30 and we've got all the momentum. We now need to digest this. And what does that look like? It's a long process. So we will likely bounce up a bit, but we will probably not get up to our line, and we will probably fall back down and find lower support down here. And then we will be able to move up, find a higher high, and we have a chance for a momentum shift. But right now, we have higher highs and higher lows all the way up. This has sort of become a double top, and this definitely did not move up above so that we could switch resistance to support. So our momentum is now flipping to the downside. So even though we're getting a little bit of a dead cat bounce today, this is not a, hey, we're going to have a massive candle and we're just going to get out of here. What's likely to happen is we're going to come up a bit and then hit some resistance and then fall back down. So let me put it out on the daily. So I drew this line, and it has been interesting to watch how we've kind of acted in this area. But when there's a death cross, oftentimes we will pull into the death cross. So I'm expecting that we will do, whatever we do, we're going to probably pull up a little bit towards this death cross and then probably be rejected by it. And then we will probably, they will source liquidity down below these wicks. If we catch the 50 week, then that would be sort of our best case scenario. That's what I'm betting. So if we did something like that, and then we kind of came up and found a, started creating a little bit of a higher high or a higher low at the very bottom here, and then start moving towards a momentum shift, we could totally rebuild this. We just have to remember that our market has a time limit. So the halving event is going to happen mid-April. So whatever we end up doing, we have time to rebuild, and probably, there's plenty of time to kind of fall apart, go through one more washout, and then put in a few higher lows to start changing the angle of all of this. And then by the halving, we will probably be near our breakout line or potentially above by then. So I think long term, this whole cycle is in great shape. What we're probably not going to do is this. So let me just show you. I don't see a scenario where we are doing this, where we've gone up, we've come down, we've hit resistance, and then we put in a lower low, and then we do this. Like, this scenario is completely far-fetched, because we're not dealing with a normal asset. If this was a stock, or if this was, a company or something like that, this is completely, this potentially could absolutely happen. But the problem with Bitcoin is that it's scarce, and there are holders, and there are people looking for opportunities. Nobody's going to let it go below this line. This 15,000, we'll never see it again. So the most likely scenario is not this case. It is more this case. And then we move into bull zone. So we will probably have to play, with some pretty low numbers. I think we're getting a dead cat bounce, and we're going to fall. And this is an absolute bulletproof support right here. This line, by the way, is 23,300. So we could wick below or whatever, but I'm betting this holds, and I'm betting we reattempt, at some point in the future. So within a year, we will be back to 31,000s, and we'll be really threatening to move on out of this zone. So it's not, it's not doom and gloom, but there is an extremely tangible change in momentum. Like, if this is an entire, 8 months worth of price action, it's going to need 4 to 6 months before we flesh out what we're going to do. Okay, so back to my speculation. The reason I thought this would be support is because obviously we had our selling climax, and then our second day of blues just kind of fell out through here, and we ended up with support higher than this point. And so this kind of angled channel makes a lot of sense. I thought we'd even get closer to the channel and then go up. But because we broke the 200 week and the 200 day, this is likely to be resistance. I am betting that we struggle with it. It was beautiful support here, and usually confirmed support which is later broken, it will confirm as resistance. So I would not be, in my personal trading, I am definitely looking for exits to longs around here. And I have a pretty safe strategy. My thoughts are, this will play out one of two ways. Either we do reject off of the 200s, so this is a great place to exit longs or go short. Or perhaps maybe I'm wrong. In the case that I'm wrong, where would that likely materialize? We would probably find. So let me just put this on just for conversation's sake. Whoops. If I'm wrong and we end up going pretty high, this line will be very difficult to break. So if we decided that, hey, we're just on a rampage, the next few days we just have this euphoric move, we end up breaking through the 200s, we will have moved so far that by here, bulls should be exhausted. And if we pull back and end up finding support on the 200, then there might be a chance that we move on. So this is a scenario that could happen, but if I end up going short or closing longs here and I'm wrong and it ends up passing through, there will definitely be another buying opportunity on the other side. So in other words, I can take the money and end up taking profits and anticipating more downside, or if I'm wrong, I will be able to probably re-enter at these same levels. I'm just like, this market will give us another chance in either case. So that's sort of the way I'm reading this particular market price action. But yeah, we're definitely going to pay for this move. If we had stayed up here and built more support, every bullish scenario was on the table. But this was so intense and losing such critical levels that this will take time to heal. This is 4 to 6 months of finding a decent selling climax to build upon. This one is not going to happen. We're not gonna find the strength here to suddenly get above 32,000. It's just not gonna happen. So we have to, we're gonna be watching for a lot of price action. We're looking for higher lows. If we pulled up a bit and then suddenly we had a higher low here, and then we broke some of these critical lines, we get above the 200, we find support and we try again. There are cases where it could, but there'd be a lot of advanced warning on how this market's going to play out as we attempt these lines. Right now we're below everything. We're below the 50, we're below the 100, we're below the 200, and the 50 and 100 are both sloping downwards. Like, it's not pretty. So things have definitely changed. So yeah, that's kind of where we are on Bitcoin, excuse me. Ethereum, I kind of feel like the same thing is about to happen. The only difference with Ethereum is we managed to hold the 200 week and the 50 week moving averages. So if I go to the weekly, we are currently still hovering above. So this line here, yeah, I'm not sure why I put this line here. It was probably old. It was kind of the first line we were watching. This line is officially here for sure. And yeah, that is very, very interesting. All right, I'm going to get rid of this line since it's irrelevant. This line is absolutely the most important line for Ethereum. That's still our 1936 line. The line that I just moved is at 1681. It should be at the close of this candle. 1685 is probably better. The close here was 1679, so anywhere in there. It's good enough. We are still holding this line. And we also have support with the 50 and the 200. I know everyone's, I've heard little comments from certain people out there that Ethereum's in worse shape than Bitcoin. It is not true. The shape and the chart here looks a lot healthier. Could we still follow Bitcoin if it starts falling apart? Yeah, we could. So it's certainly not an independent market yet. But this is, on the weekly, this is kind of where we are. We will likely struggle with the 20 though, and that's up around here. And if I go to the daily, we did break the 200-day moving average. Looks like I can clean up some things on this chart too. Okay, so the daily 200 is pretty high right now. It's almost 1800. So if Ethereum follows Bitcoin at all, there is a strong chance that it rejects here until it finds higher support. This line is pretty critical. This is where our beginning of the year resistance flipped to support, and then we had this whole thing falling below it. If we find it as resistance, that'll be a struggle. If we get up, maybe reject off the 200 and then find support here, the 200 week might just carry Ethereum through this whole scenario. So, I mean, this can play out several ways. Ethereum's in a little bit better shape than Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Ethereum chart is the one that I've been watching, and I've been waiting for an exit of this red zone. This one was actually really good. The day that Bitcoin and Ethereum both dropped really hard, we got a really strong support wick. So this is kind of cementing Ethereum as the faster horse in the race. And yes, we did pull back 2 days pretty strongly against Bitcoin because Ethereum really did kind of fall apart the past few days. Today it's outpacing Bitcoin, and we just might start holding above this, above the 50 right here. So I still think that, well, we'll see that, because Bitcoin has less distance to go before it potentially rejects off of the 200. And I'll show you that percentage. From where we currently stand to about the 200, maybe I'd say 3% thereabouts. And that same ratio for Ethereum, if we were to reject off the 200, is like 6%. So it has a lot further to go. So Ethereum, if they both reject off the 200, Ethereum is likely to move further to get there. So anyway, this is sort of, we can only play the market we're given, and we read everything as carefully as we can. This was so unusual. Dropping $3,000 in a single day after we'd already melted for a month and barely budged. Like, it was very unusual. I did not see it coming for sure. But now that it's here, and by the way, my commentary on that is that the chances of us moving upwards based on the shape of the chart, the emotions that are coming out of the chart and everything, I would have put this at like 70 or 80%. Like, it was very, very likely to move up. But you have to remember that every time there's an 80% chance in the market, there is 20% that it blows up. And so that's where we got to make sure our positions are small and we're being careful with what we're doing. So so this position really kind of blew up. But the second that you get another chance at a high probability trade, you just get back in. It's just, you just got to be a robot sometimes. When I saw this, so we had a selling climax. We had kind of a decrease in momentum. So huge candle followed by a smaller candle. I knew that the emotions were wearing out on the bear side. Also, they flushed out every long leveraged position. There's nobody left to leverage out. Like there's no one else to long squeeze. So this is a pretty safe trade. So I ended up putting in a position long at this reversal doji right here. And then we've got a lot of support, like this support candle, this support candle. Today is finally liftoff day. So it was curious. On the 4-hour chart, my little drawing actually held pretty well because every time we spiked down, we about hit my line all the way until we've finally crossed the 20 on the 4-hour. I'm expecting that the 50 on the 4-hour will be a little bit troublesome. So 26,870 will probably retreat and look for some sort of support before we attempt this. And this is where I think about 27.3 to 27.5. This would be a very logical place to reject if we're in a bearish scenario. So very interesting. But this is all it's all odds, it's all probabilities, and giving yourself exposure to the greatest probability outcomes is how you win this game. So all right, I know there have been some comments, so let's go ahead and check out some of this. Michael says, Calvin, where do you think in general altcoins can bottom after this Bitcoin move? A lot of them look like they did close to double bottom, looking for good entry points. So the difficulty will be if this plays out, if Bitcoin gets up here, rejects, and looks for new lows, alts are going to get crushed. So I would be very, very hesitant, because alts really thrive when there's a bull market and Bitcoin gets boring. So if there's a bull market and Bitcoin starts doing these little pullbacks and things aren't very interesting, but there's a lot of interest, people are watching charts all day wondering when the next Bitcoin move will happen, that's when alts really do well. If the majority of people are still bullish, and that provides a kind of another exit up here for whales, and then they drive this lower, alts are going to get absolutely massacred. I'm waiting also to get in, but I'm literally going to be waiting 3 or 4 months, because I'm not going to be looking for entry points until I know whether this scenario plays out or not. So I'm being super cautious. In fact, I'm kind of looking for short opportunities, because there's almost no case where Bitcoin rejects here and alts do really well. I just don't see it. So that's just my kind of experience. Obviously, you have to do what you want to do. Chris says Bitcoin will dump to 20K. Down to here. Yeah, losing the 50-week would be pretty amazing. So here's where I have a hard time with 20K. This is my logic. So I'm gonna get over here where there's sort of a fresh chart. Let me remove some of the noise. Excellent thought, though. This is kind of what I'm thinking. This is the Fibonacci retracement. I'm taking it from the very, this is the very bottom wick of our bear market, and I'm going to pull it all the way up to the very tip top of our most exciting high. So this is the problem with 20,000. If we were to drop to 20,000, Where is 20,000 on this chart? It is here. Can I tell you how ugly it would be if we got all the way down to here? We're still building into the halving. This is definitely the year of the chop. We're always, the year of the chop is that year. We've got the bull year, we've got the bear year, we've got the sideways year, and then we've got the build year, and then we're out of here. So yeah, I mean, technically this would be sideways if we moved all the way down to here, but the halving is coming up really quick, and the halving's like 8 months away. It's not that far, and people will be buying into the halving. For Bitcoin to really get down there, this chart and the sentiment and the long-term outlook would have to be really bearish. And right now, we definitely lost our 23% fib. That just happened. We've pulled down, and now we're finding support on the 38. So this 38 fib would normally be a fairly strong support. What I'm expecting is that we potentially move up, reject here, test here, and then fall again. But the 50% mark is likely to be probably the lowest we go and still have bearish or bullish sentiment. So pullbacks are fine, but I don't think anyone is going to be willing to let this market fully turn upside down, especially in anticipation of the halving. People are so excited, and anyone who's been around, and anyone looking at technicals, and anyone that's been in the crypto industry knows how explosive that the halving event is, and it may or may not be fully based on economics anymore. Moving from 6 1/4 to 3 1/8 Bitcoin every 10 minutes may not change everything. Like it may not have the same impact. But emotionally and financially, people are preparing to open up their wallets coming up to the halving. And so the market, I just don't see enough time for the market to allow this to happen. So April is here. So what would that have to look like? So we struggle for a while. We drop to here somehow. We would have to reject, and then we'd have to drop again, and to hit 20, we'd have to blow through this fib, and we'd have to hit 20 on a wick. Maybe we bounce back up or something. But then we need time to put in a higher high. I don't see us at 23,000 by the time the halving happens. That's kind of what I'm talking about. What I believe will happen is we will probably bounce off of this. We'll probably lose this. We'll probably find support here. We'll probably start doing this, and then we're going to start really moving upwards. By the time the halving is here, we're probably going to be around 30,000. So this is still bearish in the short term, but I don't see us falling apart. This move is just well underway. So I mean, that's my speculation. Like your guess is good as mine, but I just know what that halving feels like. I've lived through 3 of them, and people have a lot of anticipation around the halving. Awesome question though. Michael says, dilemma. If we hit 200, short or just exit and wait for re-entering long? I'm planning on exiting my long there. I kind of want to see some kind of price action before I have the guts to short. So let me delete all this off. We'll get back over to here. Yeah, so on the daily, yeah, I mean it's tough. If we get above the 200, I'll be a little less likely to short, because if we get very high, same thing with that fib retracement that I was talking about. if you stay down here, we're at the bottom third of this entire move. The bottom third is a safe place to short. If we reject off of this, we can short because this is likely not to hold, and you're pretty good. If you get above the 50% mark, or if you get way up in here or something, by the time you come back to the 200, the odds of you putting in a higher low is better. So you're likely to put in a higher low, and now you've got a momentum shift in the works. So it would not be safe to short if we blow through the 200 on the other side and then end up finding support on the top of it. So it'll really depend on how we act and how we react around this 200. If we get up to here and we have like a long wick, and then we come back and really start showing resistance here, I'll probably short it. So anyway, that's awesome. That's a really awesome question. Michael says, so we probably have around 6 months or so to accumulate altcoins before significant moves to the upside. Buy the dip. You've got some guts if you're buying the dip before this plays out. That would be gutsy. Sophia, nice to have you join from Twitch. Hi, Calvin, doing well. How long have you been streaming? Well, been streaming for about a year or so. I really enjoy talking about crypto and doing all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes, though. I am looking into starting a hedge fund. So I may not be able to stream as much, but I'll let you guys know. I won't just disappear like last time. Anyway, we're looking at it. Hey, Barbarian, nice to see you. Delima says, tonight's stream started 30 minutes ago. He normally does a live on Wednesdays. Yep, that's true. And then Goated, nice, thanks for the comment. So 37 to 45,000 this year, not happening. Also, do you think altcoins will drop more? I think altcoins will drop more. I think the tough thing is if Bitcoin rises really well, alts will follow. But then if Bitcoin starts showing weakness and starts really continuing this fall, I mean, nobody's gonna be buying altcoins. People are gonna be scared into cash. So that's kind of my opinion. And will 37 to 45 happen this year? This move pretty much took that off the table. If we had stayed above the 200, it was likely to happen. What we were waiting for was the breakout. We needed to break this line and show support on it. And what we've done is we've had a momentum shift to the downside off of that line. So yeah, our rocket's gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait for this guy. Maybe next year. So we have a lot of work to fix this. If by some miracle in a couple of weeks we find ourselves on this 30,500, yeah, it's Calvin mortgaging the house time. I will be crazy bullish because lines, the more you touch them, the weaker they get. I don't know how we get there. Emotionally and economically, I don't know how you go from building momentum to going fully sideways to suddenly full momentum again. These markets have to take a break. We've had a major push to the upside. We're losing steam. We need to cool off a little bit. I think the cool off will be minor. Then we rebuild, and then we test again, and then boom, we're out of here. So that's, markets don't fix themselves overnight. And when something's so catastrophic that breaks through major supports, you have to change your outlook because the shape of this has changed. We can only trade what we're given, and the market gave us market did not hold up at a place where it needed to for this to work out. So yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings. I'll tell you what. Good times. Cool. I think we got everything. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're at about 40 minutes, so that was a good session. But yeah, lots to think about, lots to talk about. That's just kind of the market we're at. long-term, really bullish, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm betting we're going to find better buying opportunities. This thing's pulling back, and that can be a good thing as long as we're prepared for it. So I've taken a little bit of a dead cat bounce long right here. I'm definitely going to be exiting when we hit around the 200. If we show a lot of weakness, I will short this, and we'll ride this baby down. And making money on the way down is another way to make money, you know. If we manage to overshoot and come back, I will put a small long, and we'll, I'm going to see how it holds. If it continues to show weakness or whatever, then it'll be a small position so that I'm not overexposing anything. But there are plenty of ways to read this, and the market's way more predictable after. It's the more emotional a market is, the more predictable it is, because emotions are predictable. When nothing's happening, it's a little harder to read because human nature is being masked. They're at the bottom of a huge emotional run. Bears are out of gas. They've completely wiped out everybody they possibly could. And when you start seeing reversals down here, there is something on the table. So this is a pretty high probability trade. Thanks for joining me, you guys. It's always good to, talk about some of this stuff because, it's where we are. This is how I read this chart. So hopefully that helps you guys and whatnot. But anyway, we will catch you all next Wednesday, and hope you guys enjoy your week. We'll catch you later. See you guys. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. Make sure you keep those trades small. Don't force a trade. Don't get impatient. And if you want to see how all this works, please come over and check me out on the subscription channel at cryptoinfluencers.com. Again, the link is in the description.